He could record.
Yes.
Oh, should we mute us?
Yeah, we should.
Recording. I'm going to do it on my end here as well. So you'll probably see
recording in progress.
that you need to say got it.
Got it. Got it.
All right. So Phil, are we ready to go?
We are ready to go.
And the echo does seem a little louder than it was before, but just saying.
I like it.
Okay, let's go. Let's do this.
All right. Next image, universal language. '77. How far away is heaven? It's 80, majority challenge.
Challenge.
Lisa.
I had this at 86 in the excellent category, and I would love to see it again. There we go. The title and the storytelling is just off the charts for giving us that impact. How far away is heaven? Clearly these children have lost someone important to them, and they want to know how far away that person is. And then we've got this little dove in the window here, which is sort of representing the person who's missing. It has tender poignancy and sweetness, and we have light coming in the window. I just think it's beautifully set and styled, and the storytelling is very strong, has really strong impact. For me, this is an excellent image.
Dawn.
79, and I landed. When it first came up, I was right there with you. I think the storytelling's off the charts, and there's definitely some nice things happening here. What kind of made me bounce back down into the high end of the above average was the walls and the corners. I feel like there's something strange happening there. I don't know if it's an optical illusion or what, but I don't get a corner. It looks like a corner at the bottom of the image, but not at the top. And so I can't stop trying to reconcile that in my mind, and that's taking me away from the main subjects. And so, yeah, 79.
Carl.
Above average 77. In addition to the room situation, it just seemed very flat overall as far as the kids that were part of this scene. And part of me is thrown off by just the composition of it. I mean, we have a lot of little different parts of the story that the maker has introduced us to: the dove, the cross, the person in the window up on top, the flower, or the whatever it is by the flowers that the dove is is flying by, the picture of grandma or whatever it is, but none of those items connect dots or lead us back through the kids. And I think they're an integral part of the story. So I'm having an issue with that part of it.
Allison.
I was at a 78 with this. And the line that keeps running through my head is, do the combination of elements make sense? I think the storytelling does, but I'm not sure that the combination of elements really works. I don't have a flow of compositional storytelling. The elements to me seem like I'm just bouncing around. I have the issue about the corner of the rooms. The quality of capture on the kids is both a little weak and also doesn't match the rest of the image or the artwork that's been done. So it's because of the combination of everything that I'm at a 78.
Chris.
82 merit category. Would like to point what we've all recognized the amazing storytelling that's coming on here, but the color palette that they've chosen with those muted colors and the blue kind of shining through, it draws your eye in. Look at the triangular composition as we have this young woman looking out the window, and we kind of go up following that streak up to the cross, up to the statue that's above, and then it comes down to where the portraits are hanging on the small table that's right next to it. And then we're brought right back via the boy back into that girl. And you just keep on repeating that. And every time you look through it, you notice a little bit more detail, a little bit more care that's put in. And addressing the corners of the room, it looks like we have on the bottom something that's grounding it, but up at the top, it may have been distracting or competing from the image to have that really harsh defined corner line. So it looks like the maker kind of blurred that out just to make it so it's not quite as distracting. If you look faintly, you can see on the left side that there is a little bit of a seam that comes through, and the shadow on the right side helps give us a little bit of that shape, but it's pulled out so we don't have any harsh gradations going through on that area.
Lisa, rebuttal.
Well, I feel like Chris really gave my rebuttal, so thank you on that. I found that there was so much flow. I felt like you just come into the image. You have these flowers that are possibly from the funeral into the pictures, which, the trail of the dove leads up into the statue, and then you come down to the cross through that little river of blue to the girl and then back to the boy. So for me, there was just great flow and connection. And I felt like there was this great sense of the children are disconnected, they're sad, they're lonely. Having them separate like that just seemed to reinforce the story that something is missing from this scene, and that's the person that they've lost. I appreciate that those harsh corners aren't there, because I didn't even notice that they were missing. Their whole thing just felt really natural to me. So I feel really strongly for this image. I would love to stay at 86, and hope you guys will come up.
All right, let's rescore.
84. Balkan Beauty. '81. Mommy's Little Sweetheart. '81. Gossiping at the water cooler. '82. The Kiss of First Light. 74. Rainforest generations. 83.
Challenge.
Carl.
Yeah, I'm at 87, next category. What a simple image, but a great capture for somebody, the maker, to show us a little scene that they came across, something that stood out because of use of light, but also matched because of the environment and the nature and the color harmony that it had. But great textures, wonderful piece, very natural. Like to see it the next level.
Allison.
I'm at 77 on this image. And I'm listening, but here's some concerns. The vignette that's been added and kind of heavy-handed on this image feels very unnatural and very heavy, especially at the bottom right. But that's the heaviest, but all four corners feel like it's been added after the fact, so that leaf is just, again, the lightest point. The composition didn't make sense. I felt like the texture in the mat was competing in with the texture in the image. So help me.
Chris.
82 merit category, and I felt both as Carl and Allison felt, so they kind of balanced out for me in the merit category.
Lisa.
I'm at 84, just outside the excellent category, and I hovered over that 5, thinking I might want to go up. This I just think has so much impact. When I look at it, the vignette, the darkness on the sides gives us a sense of roundness on this tree trunk. We know that a tree trunk isn't flat, but that it goes around a little bit. And as it goes back, we're going to have natural light fall off, which I think is a lot of what we're seeing in this vignette. I find the texture on the mat to complement the texture within the image. I think if there weren't texture there, there would be too much contrast, too much difference between the two. But for me, this has great impact, really great storytelling, and I feel like it's an excellent image.
Dawn.
83, it's been said.
Rebuttal Carl.
In rebuttal, without coughing too much, I think that Lisa hit it on the head. This trunk is very huge, but we're still seeing the roundness of it. We're still seeing those shadow areas, and along with those shadow areas, we're seeing discrepancies or rotted areas of that wood that are going to go darker too. But wonderful textures, great natural piece. We know what the main subject is because it's lit mostly. A nice, simple, abstract yet photographic presentation to us. 87.
All right, rescore.
'85. Spring forward. '75. Fiercely flamenco. And it's an artist image. '76. Cowgirl jacuzzi. '80. Always the middle child. Score only. 78. This bank is pointed in the right direction. 85. I've been touched by the best. 74. Road to perdition. 77. Catching her breakfast. 81. Pride and confidence. 76. Hunter in the sky. 88. The dreaming tree. 'And that's an artist. 82.
I'll challenge that one. I'm at 85 in the excellent category on this one. And looking at the difficulty of the extractions and the layering, they did an amazing job of balancing out color and composition to create a storytelling element on this.
Lisa.
84, top of the merit category. And I really enjoy the way these were pulled together and the storytelling aspect of it. I'm very challenged to find where the second guide image is, the woman with her hands up in the air. I would love to know where that is. If somebody can find it, the Where's Waldo, and point that out, that might be the thing that just tips me up into the excellent category.
Dawn.
78 in the above average category. The woman is actually in the tree trunk. Her face is there where the branches start to come together. The reasons that I was not as high are technical. I do think the storytelling is fantastic. The lighting on the little girl and the lighting on the tree trunk is nice. Where it kind of starts to fall apart for me are the top and the bottom. The branches and the trees, I'm sorry, mostly the tree leaves, some areas are super sharp, some areas are really muddy and mushy. And so that's very inconsistent and draws me away from the beauty of the story. Same with that bottom right-hand corner, getting super, super dark. These things just pull me out of the gorgeous story that's happening in the center.
Carl.
Above average 77 for very similar reasons. And then also some of the perspective just doesn't seem quite correct, given from the thumbnails to the finished scene.
Allison.
Well, I was at 84, but the longer it sits here, the longer I'm starting to kind of have some of the technical elements not sit as well with me. I found the lady in the tree. I had concerns about the mushiness that was pointed out in the tops of the trees, but it ultimately, as it sits here, has come down to the fact that the lighting on her face and the quality of this girl and the dog in conjunction to the rest of the image seems a little inconsistent. And the pages of the book almost seem like they're lit within and they're almost more sharp than her face.
Rebuttal, Chris.
Thank you so much for pointing out all of that. I was completely taken by the impact and the storytelling that's here and the beautiful color harmony. Upon looking at the finer details that my fellow jurors have pointed out and balancing out this being in the artist category, where we do have absolute control of everything, especially when it comes to lighting direction, relighting things and shaping it. I think it is still a merit image, but I will be lowering my score from the excellent category down to an 82 in the merit category.
All right, rescore.
And Brian, while we're here, can we challenge the hawk, please? The one prior to this.
Yes.
80.
All right, let's bring back Hunter in the Sky. Carl,
Yeah,
challenge.
I have to, because I was at 96. And the reason I didn't challenge initially was something I saw as it sat here. But this is such a next level capture. The hawk is or bird, whatever you want to call it, I guess, is so wonderfully presented to us. The background looks really cool. My concern that kept me from challenging initially was almost like a whitish line over the top of the clouds. And I just want to make sure that it something that could be real or not, and it might affect where I end up going with this image. So I just wanted to discuss it a little bit.
Allison.
Great. Carl, I gave it an 88, which is what it scored because I saw those highlights of those clouds. Because the presentation, the bird, the mountain has so much fabulous impact. And I'm glad we're talking about it because, you know, those little things are what kept me from going higher, but it is awesome.
Chris.
Yeah, 85, excellent category. The impact is just off the charts on it. In addition to the cloud things, looking at the extraction or the maybe not extraction, the tips of the wings, it looks like we have a little bit of motion blur that's in the wing itself or the tips of the feathers, but then the extraction or the cutout of it seems very, very sharp, almost like there's a little bit of a disconnect that's there. Just kind of struck me as a little bit odd.
Lisa.
84, top of the merit category. Absolutely love everything that's going on in the middle of that raptor. I just felt like there was so much intensity. The light was perfect, really great. I did see that light on the top of the clouds. I've seen something like that before. It's kind of that silver lining, you know, with the sun being above and on top and just, you know, really highlighting the top of the cloud. So that didn't bother me too much. It was more the mountains in the background. They almost felt like they had motion blur, and you know that a mountain's not moving. It's not just bokeh. Like it's almost like there's a shadow of a mountain before or to the side. I just couldn't understand how they got that effect with the mountains. So that was something that was a concern for me. But man, when it comes to that bird, I was just all in.
Dawn.
86 for the positives and the negatives.
All right, Carl.
Are you
Carl
still
is
muted,
muted.
Carl?
He's speechless.
It was such eloquent things that I said too. But yeah, I'll be lowering my score to 85. I do think that we needed to talk about this, and I think that a score that in this category deserves explanation, especially when there's situations here that may make it even stronger. So hopefully the maker is listening. I'm moving to 85. Let's see where it goes.
All right, rescore.
'85. Wide-eyed composure. 79. Happy go lucky. 76. The track. 75. Two of a kind. 79.
I'll challenge that one.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm at 82, deserving of a merit. When looking at it, the treatment that they've done on this one with the realistic, vibrant macaws that are up front, and then we get this muted jungle scene. It's just got a lot of depth, kind of pops off the page. Would love to talk about it.
Lisa.
77 above average. For me, the complete difference between these birds and that sort of matte finish, flat affect of the background, it just felt like these birds were cut out and stuck onto a piece of paper. So for me, it just didn't quite come together for the merit.
Dawn.
76 for some of those same reasons. And the birds are really nice. They have great impact. But then when we, those muted colors, and then there's something kind of strange going on with the one bird's claw where it's really kind of soft and I don't know, soft isn't the right word, muted, cloudy. I'm not sure what that is. It's too much inconsistency there for me.
Carl.
Yeah, I was a merit level 81, and it was the inconsistency that I liked about this image, actually, because the birds very much look three-dimensional and well lit and good texture, great color to them. I think, to me, this is a different style of presentation, different style of art, not necessarily that I always appreciate, but it gives us almost that cartoony kind of background feel, almost like a street art kind of feel to it. And I guess I appreciated that.
Allison.
I was at 79, as high as I could go in that category, because I am confused as to what the maker is trying to accomplish here by having so many different techniques in the same image. And I ultimately went to 79. I mean, the presentation of these pink lines, I can't find a stitch of pink anywhere else. And the bottom corner of that matting on the right, there's like where the overlay has overlapped onto the second presentation. I think there is potential in this subject. I'm not sure if this form of it is there yet.
Rebuttal.
Thank you. Looks like we kind of have a split jury in terms of if this works or does not work for you. The concerns that I heard are things that I embrace and appreciate about the image, such as the stylization of the muted flat background, the tail coming out with the subtle shadow that extends beyond the presentation and that inner matte, the vibrant colors of the birds and the muted aspect that's there, the subtle kind of pink salmon-y outline, I think kind of pulls some of the warmth of the browns and complements the blues and yellows that come through. So this is just a unique take. It works for me. I'm going to keep my score at 82 and encourage you to vote for what you think it deserves.
All right, rescore.
'80 majority challenge.
Challenge.
Dang, you got me.
Allison.
Okay. I came up to an 80 on this image, and can I have the image back? Is it possible?
Should be.
Okay, cool. And right as it went away, I just kept seeing more and more things that were not sitting well with me. I came up to the merit, but if we're going to have this majority challenge, let's talk about it. The top tree trunk that the birds are not sitting on, follow that all the way down to where it meets the presentation. And you get a solid triangle of 2 different colors. Then you go to the next tree trunk down, you can almost see the same thing where the colors are going in and out. The technical issue on the presentation that I brought up the first time is still there. The inconsistencies in the claws, the dark shadows, the very photographic nature of the palm frond that comes in, yet the artwork of everything else. It's one of those moments where I believe it has potential, but let's not vote for the potential. Let's vote for what is in front of us.
Chris.
Thank you. I think we are going to make the same arguments that's there. I'm willing to move with what my jury is.
Lisa.
I was at 79 and Allison expressed my concerns on the tree trunks.
Dawn.
I went to 79 as well, and agree with what's been said.
Carl.
Yeah, I went to 79 as well. And in addition, even as I was going to challenge two, but muted. In addition to what the challenger brought up, when I'm looking at their option to have the tails go out onto the mat, the shadow isn't consistent from what it should be based on where the light is coming from on the birds. So it's another thing that kind of keeps us from being finished. It's a good start, but needs to be finished.
And Allison.
In rebuttal, 79.
All right, rescore.
79.
Good discussion.
The Hangout. $77. Stargazing inside the dome. $82. Sapphire Dreams. $75. Wanna play with me? $76. The Colors That Divide. $85. I Believe I Can Fly. $80. The Lookout. $80. Sweet Dreams. $79.
Challenge.
Who was that?
It's Dawn.
Dawn. Challenge.
I have it at an 81, just inside the merit category. And the impact is definitely there. This beautiful sweet face. There's definitely direction of light hitting the baby. And I like the colors in it. I think the way they have propped this, you go right to the baby's face. So yeah, I was at an 81.
Carl.
I was above average at 76 and enjoy the cuteness of this. But to me, the composition just seemed very bold with cutting off the whole bottom of the baby and the box. It just didn't seem to quite fit there, as well as the numerous textures that we have going on here. We have smooth to, like cheesecloth to fur to ribbons. There's so many textures going on.
Allison.
77, and I want to draw your attention to where above the baby's head, where the box meets the rug, there is a harsh line right there where some artwork wasn't handled as precisely as it should be.
Chris.
78, above average. Also want to look at the softness of the baby's skin. And right next to it, we have that really, really textured cheesecloth wrap that goes through, or whatever that wrapping texture is. The texture pulls you in because everything else is this either subtle blur that's going to it. And so I'm just drawn to that one area instead of the cute baby.
Lisa.
82 in the merit category. I was really enjoying the repetition of color with the teal and then the dark teal and then the darker teal. Really enjoyed that. I liked the different patterns, textures. I felt like that just helped to build depth in the image. But seeing that line at the top of the box is definitely a concern for me, and is making me reconsider my score.
All right, rebuttal Dawn.
I just got really excited about the sweet baby, but I don't have a rebuttal for some of those things mentioned. I'll be lowering my score to 79.
All right, rescore.
78. Sacred Lands of the Navajo. $88.
Challenge.
All right,
Sorry.
I thought you might, Carl.
I was at 94 in this image, and what a wonderfully three-dimensional view of this formation here. Great light coming across. It's helping give us that dimension. We have all these different colors that are shown off within the scene. We have great detail in the highlights and enough into the shadows to help us give that textured feel to it. Nice roadway that's leading us to this area. A lot of things that are positive as far as our elements are concerned. And I think we should just discuss it a little bit.
Allison.
Yeah, I was at 89. I think the textures are just phenomenal. Love the storytelling, love the presentation. The only reason I didn't go higher initially is the plateau on the right. I feel like I'm getting all along the top of it, I'm getting a white kind of halo, which then I also see on the far side of the left plateau, not at the top, but right in the middle, I'm getting this little white cutout in the gray and purple area.
Chris.
84, deserving of a merit. Very much what Allison had, it got a lot of impact. Things that held me back out of going higher, as Allison had mentioned, kind of the almost cutout-y feel as you go around and see those either really deep, dark, black shadowed areas or slight kind of halo areas. And then looking at the tonality across the entire image, we have our main subject that's got these nice kind of grays, and we almost dip down into blacks. But then when we look in that mid foreground area, it's got some really, really deep, deep, dark tones that just kind of pull you down and kind of keep you there versus experiencing all the beautiful texture that we have up top.
Lisa.
88, middle top of the excellent category. This image just has tremendous impact. The colors are phenomenal. I was okay with that that mid foreground depth of shadow because the sun is quite low, so it is creating the light that's hitting the top of the mountain. But what that means is that in the lower areas, there's really no sun. I don't know that I mean, without doing a real HDR treatment, I don't know that you could get much more than what they've gotten on those little shadow areas. So I am in favor of moving up on this image, and I would love to see that happen.
Dawn.
83 in the middle of the deserving of a merit, and I was definitely higher when it came around for the impact, but then I started noticing some of the things that were pointed out as far as around the edges of the formations, and then with those really dark areas that are coming through in the little hills in the foreground, the lighting doesn't make sense to me there because we have the way the light hits the rest of the formations and how it just is not hitting in those shadow areas. It just feels off to me. So I landed at 83.
Rebuttal, Carl.
Yeah, in rebuttal, to address some of the situation, I think we all agree this has a lot of impact in an exceptional manner. It has sharpness, and it has all the textures and the colors that we keep mentioning. But we're also, because of those colors, we're going to see different tones from the shadows from some areas than others. The lower areas, they're more green, and the color shift through there is going to be different than what we have in the colors in the rock formations. Maybe those have a blue tint to them or some a purpley kind of feel to them, because I'm seeing it consistently throughout from both formations. I think it's unfortunate by nature. That doggone cloud had a little bit of a break in it, and that far plateau on the right, which looks like a halo, but I see it coming out of the end of it. So I know that opening in the clouds might go carry all the way across there. So I don't think that's a halo. I think that's actually the cloud or the break in the sky. And very similarly on the left side, where the light is already mentioned, it was really low. So, but we're still seeing it up high in that formation, and it's because it's nice and sharp and crisp, we're getting that really contrasty feel of sharpness and almost a feel of glowing on that ridge on the left of it too. I think that's absolutely natural. I think this is an exceptional piece. It has impact. It has very good technical qualities. I love the road leading us in, giving us a place of how big this area really is. I'm at 94.
All right, we score.
$92.
Excellent. Let's take a break. Judges, join me over in the breakout room, and audience, we're going to come back probably right around 40 or 56 after the hour.
Yeah,
And,
we're working on it.
And whenever you're ready, judges, you can turn your video off and we're set to go.
All right. Next image. Eternal hope. $77. Mountain tempest storm. $81.
Challenge.
Dawn.
I was apparently, I'm a lot higher than that, so we need to talk. I'm at an 88. I just felt like the mood here was very impactful. I like all the layers of the clouds going through the trees. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Carl.
Yeah, I was at merit level 82, and I think this does have a lot of impact. Good flow of the mist clouds coming up the slope here. I was a little concerned with some of the bottom right corner details, but you know, it's there and it's moody. So yeah.
Allison.
Okay, I meant to type in 83 and I hit the 73. So I could be just, the one causing problems, but I thought this was an 83. I love the mood in the mist. I do have a problem with the dark corner on the right.
Chris.
Yeah, 79 above average. I love the impact and the motion that's through here, but that bottom right just pulls me out. It separates me from what the rest of the image is. We have such a high contrast area, and it's almost like those trees are kind of ghosting as we have some of the detail that's added back in. It doesn't mesh with the naturalness of the rest of the image.
Lisa.
84, top of the merit category. I actually really enjoy the contrast of the light upper left corner and the dark lower right corner, and then we have this diagonal that goes between. It just creates a lot of dynamic tension that I think really works. This is such a moody image, and having that dark corner just adds to the moodiness. I'm feeling the tempest. I'm feeling all of the emotion. So for me, it works. I'm good at 84. I could come up.
Rebuttal.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you doing most of my rebuttal for me. I wrestled a little bit with that bottom corner as well, and I think that's what kept me from going on up into the next category. I landed where I did because even though it is really dark, I do still see some detail all the way down into the bottom corner. And I really don't have a sense of the entire scene to know for sure. And so I just kind of landed on the side of the maker. They wanted that to be part of the story with it being the major contrast. And so I feel pretty comfortable at my 88, and I hope you'll join me there.
All right, rescore.
86. Songbird. I think this would be artist.
Just waiting on one score.
84.
Challenge.
Let's go. I think that was you first, Dawn, correct?
Okay. Yeah. So I had this image at a 78, and I, want to be sure and say to the maker that this is, a nice concept, nice idea. I think where this is falling short for me in the artist category is how the lighting does not match. There's definitely direction of light on the bird. You can tell from the catch light, but then the lighting that's on the flowers does not match the lighting that's on the bird. And some of those areas in the stems are a little rough. So those are things that kept me down.
Carl.
I was on the other end of the spectrum at 88. And I actually think that it could be similar lighting in that it's just the way that the bird, especially the catch light that's throwing us off as far as direction. I think the light is coming from more of above. and it's giving us that little reflection in the top, spherical nature of that eye. But to create those flowers from scratch, I think the maker did a wonderful job giving us the good dimension and shape and textures to the flowers and the stems, and then create a nice composition with the photographic element that they started with.
Lisa, or excuse me, Allison.
Yeah, I was at an 84, sort of trending positive. I love the color tonalities. I love the creation of the flowers. I think the integration of the bird into the drawing seems very consistent. Love the background. Lots of positives.
Chris.
84 merit. Everything that's been stated is perfectly hits it. The lighting direction does make sense. Adjusting that one, just coming from that kind of back, we can see that the background has this kind of glow that's on the right as it kind of sweeps across. And we've got speckled light hitting the stems as that also goes across. So we've got physics in the scene kind of making sense for me. And I do enjoy the catch light that's in the bird's eye. I think if it was missing, that we wouldn't have as much pop coming to that eye. And as we pull the vibrancy of the bird versus the other elements, it just draws focus to it really well.
Lisa.
86 in the excellent category. And Chris just said everything I was going to say about the lighting. For me, it absolutely makes sense. And you can have a catch light without that being a direct light source. It could be reflecting off of something, maybe there was something white right in front of the bird that's creating that catch light, and it wasn't necessarily from a light source. So for me, this is an excellent image.
All right, Rebuttal, Dawn.
In Rebuttal, I think I'm still not quite as taken with it as some of you guys are, but I will move to the merit category with 82.
All right, rescore.
'86. Hot summer nights. '78. Adorned. '78.
I'll challenge that one.
All right, Chris, take it.
82 merit category. Just looking at the simple composition that's here and the depth that's added to it by having those background elements, the control of the tones and color just really makes a subject pop. Would like to talk about it.
Yeah, I scored this one as 78, above average, and I think that the subject is really well handled. I like the pose and the mood and feel. I think it's some of the work done on the chair that just makes the chair become so much more the subject and competes against the young lady. So next would be Dawn.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know who you
Yes.
who DQ'd. So 76 in the above average category. The technique I felt was really distracting on the chair, and then on her, down her hands. I feel like part of the story is the artwork, the henna artwork that's on her hands, but the technique has kind of taken all of the detail out of that. Also, I feel like it's got an awfully cool color cast to some of the areas around around the chair, where then we've got warm tones on her skin, on her arms, but we don't have that same warm tone on her face. So there were some inconsistencies there that kept me from the merit.
Carl.
Yeah, above average 78. The color cast changes through her skin. To me, though, the biggest thing was all the extra things in the background, the table, then the table with the green. There's nothing that matches that green, so it draws too much attention. Then we have a hard time going back to the main subject.
Allison.
77. for the color cast issues and the change of tonality within the chair, but that play between the green plant and the red of the chair, being that those are complementary colors, are so, when they clash together, they're so commanding that the rest of the image doesn't hold as much attention.
Rebuttal, Chris.
Thank you for the feedback. I do enjoy the things that were criticisms on everybody else's front in terms of the treatment. I think that it's applied evenly throughout the entire image, and it gives us that kind of painted effect. So I expect to see some of the texture in the chair or in those background elements or on her hand. It's not photorealistic, but it kind of takes us into this fantasy world that's coming through. The color changing from her hands to her skin. Her hands are going to be exposed to more sun, so we're going to have some texture and darker tones that are coming through there, and up where her face is and upper part of her arms are going to get less sun, so they're not going to have that deep tan color that's coming through. It does look like it has even vibrance that's going throughout the entire image. The background elements where we have that coolness and that greenness that are coming there, they're very muted as opposed to the very vibrant and saturated color that we have on the central part of the subject. I think a lot's been handled really, really well here. I know that I'm in opposition of what the rest of the jurors are. I would really love it if you guys could consider coming up to that merit category and rewarding the maker for the excellent, strong composition and equal treatment that they've done on the subject. I'll be keeping my score at 82.
All right, rescore.
And did you get my score? My thing just grayed out on me here.
80.
Okay, you did.
Yeah.
Killer call. $78. The Soul's Window. $78. The Christmas Circus. I believe this is artist. $76. My family, my land, my legacy. $81. Ode to Harlow. $78. Solo Dance. $84.
Challenge.
Carl.
Yeah, next category, 88. And I'm not sure why I was timid enough to stay there, honestly. We have a beautiful, subtle leading lines from the background coming to this main subject, and from the foreground, bottom left corner, leading us up to this area. And everywhere in between, we have just enough detail to give us some shape and form to the snow or whatever it is, formations that are out here. But a simple scene, strong subject matter, wonderful composition. I think it's next level stuff.
Allison.
Well, I was at 77. I guess I missed it. It is a slow burn with all the detail. I mean, the subtleties. My ears are open.
Chris.
83 merit category. I agree that the scene as a whole is absolutely breathtaking and the nuances very, very subtle, but quite enjoyable. The central subject or stick that's sticking out there seems a little bit flat in terms of visual interest. It doesn't have much shape or form that mirrors the beauty of the rest of the scene that it's in. And the very top of it feels like it has a little bit of a blur to it. Not quite sure what's going on there.
Lisa.
88, top of the excellent category and trending up. This image has just so much subtle simplicity. It is just rich. The composition is really well done. I love the control of the detail within those light areas. For me, this I mean, I guess this is the main subject matter, although I think the whole thing is kind of the subject matter. But the title is Solo Dance with emphasis on dance. And so I'm seeing these arms just sort of dancing, moving around. It's got a jaunty tilt to it. So it's feeling the music of this windswept space. Yeah, I'm talking myself up into a higher score.
Dawn.
83, it's been said.
All right, Carl.
Yeah, in rebuttal, I think the music is our greatest point of interest here right now with this is that, you know, it's singing to us. We have different levels of this background here, and we have the solo dancer that I think the top looks a little bit strange. It might have ice on it. Who knows? Maybe it's blowing in the wind a little bit, but it's given us a sense of motion and a sense of three-dimensional characteristics to it. A wonderful scene. It could be abstract, it could be natural. It's our choice, and I think it's next level. I'm at 88.
All right, let's rescore.
'88. Ready to serve. '78. Eskimo kisses. '78. Earth under pressure. '85. The prayer. '76. Best friends. '75. Blue eyes, sunny skies. Blue eyes and sunny skies, I'm sorry. '78. A fresh start. '79.
Challenge.
Allison.
Yeah. You know, I'm at an 81 on this image. It is really hard when you're given such awkward times to go to these locations and you add the element of snow and short sleeves, and what a wonderful job the maker has done of combining these elements and giving this couple such a great memory of the day. You know, it's just difficult lighting conditions. Um, and I think it's well done in the merit category.
Chris.
78 above average. I agree. They do have excellent control of the lighting that's on the primary subject. As we get into some of the background elements, like the bushes are quite distracting with how deep and dark they are when everything else is in this kind of higher mid key. It just kind of pulls your attention away from the primary subject.
Lisa.
80 merit category. I really enjoy and respect the way that the lighting was handled on the couple. I do wish that there were a little bit more dynamic lighting on the background, but understand that this was in the shadow side of this building, and I think they did a good job with what they had.
Dawn.
I'm 78 in the above average category, and I can definitely appreciate their control of lighting on the couple and the time of day challenges and things like that. But for me, there was just kind of I don't know, they feel almost like they're too sharp around the edges of her arm and down her backside. And even some of the reflective light that's coming back onto her doesn't seem, I don't know where that's coming from, because we don't seem to have that same light coming on the building or any other area. So it was inconsistencies that kind of kept me from the merit.
Carl.
Yeah, above average 77. You know, I agree with the light on their faces, worked out really nice. Love the expressions, and kudos to making pulling this off for that situation on that day. I wish the light balanced just a little bit more, so we're not seeing the shadows from them within the artificial light. And I wish we could have just moved them over a little bit to the more of the corner, that opening between the trees, so they didn't have some of that, bare arm or bare leaf or bare trees coming out of their head so much. They could have been in a more simplified background.
Rebuttal, Allison.
Well, in rebuttal, this is one of those times where I am siding on behalf of the maker, because doing a white dress on the snow in the morning, in the shadow, either the extreme morning or extreme evening, all of those elements have been handled so well to give the bride and groom something that truly is a treasure. I can't figure out how, you get such a beautiful layout of a dress and keep that snow so pristine. So kudos to that. The light kicking back on the arm, to me, feels very natural, because snow does all sorts of weird things. It reflects it and fills it in. That's why it's necessary to bring in this additive lighting. And the fact that it is very warm, the additive lighting on their face compared to the blue of the sky, again, it adds even more dimension because of the color play between the warm and the cool. I'm not pushing for a 90 here, but I do think that the degree of difficulty warrants a merit on this one. I'm going to stay with my 80.
All right, rescore.
$80.
Thank you.
Wrapped in Love. $77. Into the Light. $75. Yellow Willie. 77. Fluid motion.
Hold on, I'm not seeing the image.
Is it there for you yet?
I had to go out and come back in. So it's loading. Yes.
'82. Big sky roots. '80. Serene symmetry. '78. Puppy tails. '77. Alone. '88.
Challenge.
Chris.
I'm at 95 in the exceptional category on this. And when it just comes around, I'm just awestruck with the beauty of the scene that we have here. We've got that a lone tree that's that central bottom or that bottom right area, and just the great framing and tonal detail that's here. Would love to talk about it more.
Lisa.
91 superior category. Man, we just have so much great movement and texture within this image. Just having those hills crossing one after the other, and then all the clouds above, all those different light tones that are anchored right in that tree in the lower right hand corner. Yeah, this is a superior image, and could be trending up.
Dawn.
It's a 78 in the above average category, and I could be way off. I just got a very cutout feel from the all across the tops of those kind of rolling hills, and so I'm listening.
Carl.
92, and I guess that's the point of this, in my opinion, is that it makes it look almost cut out because of the contrast between just the ridge of this, because of when the lighting is hitting it, it's getting us that sharp image from the sky. I think it's wonderfully done. My only concern on it, and that I was being harsh and even staying at 92 and not going up more, was I just want to know where the shadow is from in the foreground. I just, without seeing where it's coming from, I'm just wondering what was so tall there that's creating that much of a shadow, but that's just a personal thing. So
Allison.
Yeah, I was at an 83 with this image. And I definitely think it's got a ton of impact, and I can trend upwards. The two issues that I have is the choice of cropping. I get it. It's a storytelling element to make the tree so small and solitude and lonely, but it's so far down there. It's not quite. It's just so far to the edge. And then when I look at the sky, I wish I don't even need like 3/4 of that to be an even more impactful image. If we would have brought the horizon line up into the top 2/3, I still would have gotten cold and lonely from that. And nitpicking on the presentation, the drop shadow that's on the outside mat that's going on just seems unnecessary.
Rebuttal, Chris.
Thank you. Some great discussion on this one, and I'm happy that we talked about it because I feel like we're going to be able to find a cool ground that's there. I think that Carl hit it up that the texture that's there on the tops of the hills is what separates it from the background. Yet the subtle tonal control helps us keep in that natural state. It feels very realistic to me. I agree that the presentation is a little bit distracting, and the crop could perhaps be tightened up a little bit to add further impact and emphasis on our primary subject. I have no explanation of what that large shadow is on the left. Maybe it's another hill, maybe it's another tree, maybe something else is going through and it's a split in the cloud somewhere. Not entirely sure, but I don't think it pulls it down a whole bunch, being those things. I was in the exceptional category. I'm going to come down to the top end of the superior category after listening to your guys' feedback. I'll be at 94. Would love to reward this maker.
All right, rescore.
$92. Equilibrium. $83.
Challenge.
Carl.
Yeah, I'm at 92. And what a simple subject, but yet so powerful and so powerfully shown to us here. I mean, looking up at this thing, and it gives us three-dimensional characteristics. We have good tonal range throughout each one of these little parts of these subjects. It's sharp, it's crisp, it's well exposed, it's warm, it's cool, it's coming towards us, it's going away from us. It has so much going on here, yet so simple at the same time that it's superior.
Allison.
84. I thought it was exciting too. I'll continue to think it's exciting with all of it's an actual mandala, not an artistically created one, and I think that's pretty cool.
Chris.
77. I'm in the above average category, and sounds like I'm got a different viewpoint than what the rest of the judges have. When looking at the elements that come down to create that mandala effect, I see a slight white line around all those black circles that are coming there, which gives it a very kind of cut out feel to it that doesn't match the naturalness and organicness that we have, especially on that background element. We can see on like that ceiling roof area, it's got a very soft, low contrast feel. And then we have what feels like an overlaid aspect of all those individual elements. Would love to see more harmony between the two of those. So that's what kind of kept me out of that merit category with it.
Lisa.
82 merit category, and definitely feel like I underscored this. I think that white line is really rim lighting, because I think these each one of these is lit. You can tell when you look at the next layer of circles is a little bit lit. You can see the light from the lower, and then the inner circle is even brighter because there's two levels of light. So I feel like that light is around the outside is inherently there. It's just rim lighting from the light bulb that's in there. I love the symmetry and then the near symmetry. So the corners match up perfectly, but then when we look at this chandelier, it's not exactly symmetrical because it's not lining up with the north, south, east, west ordinals. But I like that. The more I study it, the more I appreciate the that it's slightly off. It gives it almost a feeling of movement or something. Really enjoy this image.
Dawn.
82, it's been said.
Carl.
In rebuttal, after unmute. I think that yes, the light or cutout looks to him has been addressed. I absolutely believe that that's what it's from. I like the discussion about the symmetry and yet not quite symmetry, but everything here has wonderful detail. It has motion, it has simplicity, it has power, good composition, a center of interest. It's got a wonderful palette, and it's deserving of that next category. I'm at 92.
All right, rescore.
91. Goodbye kiss. '79 majority challenge.
Challenge. Sorry, I'm
Perfect.
on mute.
Thank you, Allison.
I gave this an 81. Oh my gosh, what a fun capture for this couple. The composition is spot on. They're right in that PowerPoint. I love the way the hats are falling, so we just get the love. I know the horse isn't so happy about it, but I can understand, two people on one horse can be a lot. I love the so many of the elements, it seems to me, pop off the page. 81.
Chris,
82, exact same reasons that Allison stated.
Lisa,
80, and all the positives. Love it.
Dawn,
I was actually at a 77, and perhaps I underscored or was a little harsh. It just felt a little flat, and color balance wise felt pretty blue to me, and so I didn't get all of the warm love from it that I kind of was hoping for. But I'm listening.
Carl,
Yeah, I was at 77, above average. I do appreciate the story, and the composition I think was wonderful. I wish there was more dimensional lighting on their faces, but again, it's under the hats and stuff. So, maybe we could trend up. I'm just also wondering where her horse is. If she's wearing spurs, where's her horse? Just curious, that's all.
all right, rebuttal, Allison.
Well, there's so much excitement and lovingness. I don't care where her horse is. She got off of it and came to give him a big kiss. I love how comfortable their hands are. They make this kiss look effortless. I've never seen a pose like this before. And she just sticks her feet up in that stirrup and meets him. There's so much going on, but it's done so simply and so well. As far as the blue light, I can see, based on the blue lighting in the hills and the blue light in the sky and the blue light of the ground, that I am going to get blue into their shadows and their hats. So to me, that makes total sense. When we talk about storytelling and authenticity and giving us a fresh perspective on that makes something that's uniquely this couple, I think it's an 81 in the merit category.
All right, rescore.
'81. The Great Escape.
I don't see anything. Do I need to refresh?
Yeah,
Oh, it just came up.
we had a lag. Sorry. '80. Solitary Stand. '79. Mop Top. '80. Lights of the Night. '78. Golden Beauty. '73. She dreams in color. She dreams in red. '80 majority challenge.
Challenge.
Chris.
I'm at 84 on this one. And when it comes around, you're just looking at this and it's just like, wow, the red pops, the title makes sense with it. And it's just fun to experience the emotion that goes throughout from all the swirls and lines that are there. It's just a fun image to explore.
Lisa.
77 above average. For me, what it came down to is just the mix between the painted and created elements, those heart flowers on the right and her dress, but then the face of this mannequin is completely photographic, and around the inside of the frame of the image feels photographic, and the picture inside the frame also has a photographic feel to it, but then the frame around the outside is all embellished and painted, and I don't know, and the background is also very sharp. It was just disconnected. It didn't come together for me.
And Dawn.
78. Love the creativity, and I think the maker was definitely off to a good start with the color palette and things. It starts to fall apart for me with the inconsistencies in technique and painting. The upper part of the dress looks like it's supposed to be some type of shiny material, so it has a sharper look and feel, but then the bottom of the dress is heavily painted in the flowers, but then not really painted in the back, the image that's inside the frame. So the inconsistencies really held me back.
Carl.
Of average 78. It's hard to understand what the maker wanted us to get out of this, what they wanted to feel out of this, because of the sharp areas and the not so sharp areas and the almost blurredness, and then the textures. It's just too much to keep me from enjoying what their story really was going to be.
Allison.
Yeah, I was at 84 as well. I've been listening intently. I love the flowers, the heart flowers on the right. And since it was all based in dream and fantasy, I just kind of went with the dream and the fantasy. But I am trending to hearing some of your concerns.
Rebuttal, Chris.
Yeah, so thank you for that. Wanted to kind of point out that this is a dream that we are looking at, as Allison had mentioned. So we expect some almost surreal type things to happen. The two photographic elements, for the things that are really, really sharp, are our mannequin model that's up front, and the figure, this relief sculpted figure that's inside the frame. As we exit that frame, or where that dream is, that's when we get into that painted feeling. And we have both tone, contrast, sharpness, and technique. That's all keeping us locked in on that central subject. And you've got kind of this yin yang sort of feeling between the relief profile that's on the guy on the left and the mannequin woman that's on the right, where we're kind of that balance of light and dark. We have the feminine and the masculine. We've got a lot of nice juxtaposition of these elements. And then it's just grounded by those beautiful flowers that are coming through. I think it's a really, really unique take on this. Definitely has some layers and something that makes you think and interpret it in a unique way. I think we should reward the maker. I'm going to change my score to kind of balance out with the rest of the group to an 82 on this one, but I'd love it if you join me in the merit category.
All right, rescore.
'81.
Curious.
Wild Mustang. '78. Happy as a bird. 75. Delivery, 58 delivery. 78. Fed is best. 78. Country barn. 77. 10 little piggies. 79. River of fire. 80. There once was a girl who had a little curl. 77. A kiss from a tulip. 80. Majority challenge.
Challenge.
Carl.
Oops.
I'm at 84 in this image. The other image, one of these images. Absolutely love the composition of this. A nice triangular, powerful element with the leaves, bringing us right back to the main center of interest. Presentation follows in line with it. Good softness on the outside, but it leads us to more sharpness inside. So a lot of different elements that the maker gave us to bring us to where they want us to go. Wonderful layers. Well done, strong image, 84.
Allison.
Yeah, I was at 78. I agree with a lot of those positives. I didn't come up higher because the center of the tulip, I'm going to call it a tulip, it could be something else, is so photographic in nature, but the rest of everything is very artworked. And I was kind of baffled by that. I love the ridges and highlights, but is it artistic or photographic? Maybe it doesn't matter. And then the pink keystroke just seemed so demanding.
Chris.
83 merit category. It's strong composition and beautiful color harmony that comes there. I enjoy that it goes from that painterly effect into the photorealistic. It's another way pulling attention. We've got contrast, we've got color, and we've got technique that's just drawing our attention right to that central subject.
Lisa.
78 above average. In addition to the negatives that have been mentioned, the title is A Kiss from a Tulip. So I feel like I'm supposed to be looking at this pink center as like lips. And man, that's just like the weirdest lips ever. It just was very off-putting to be thinking of it that way. Like there was just too much cognitive dissonance there for me.
Dawn.
78. It's been said.
Carl.
Okay, in rebuttal, yeah, the title can throw us off a little bit. the lips. I mean, it's like, getting kissed at your family gathering by your great aunt. Yeah, but it's what the maker is trying to show us and drawing us to, and not everything in nature is absolutely gorgeous all the time, but it is part of nature in its imperfect nature to us, or given to us here. Whether, I think Chris hit it on the head, that we have a lot of different ways of the maker bringing us to what they wanted us to see. The title, unfortunate, but the effect, the lines, the depth of field, the composition, all these different things are bringing us to that center of interest, and in a very meritorious way. I'll stay in the merit category.
All right, rescore.
'82. Quiet reflection. '77. Up to the challenge. '75. Ethereal. '77. Welcome to Wonderland. '83. The Guardian. '77. No goals on my watch. '81. Elegance in red. '77. Emma. '77. Little Rascals. '78. Tethered. '76. Triplets. '78. Beauty blooms out of darkness. '83.
Challenge.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm at 78 on this one, and I absolutely love the composition and tonality that's here. I'm having a hard time seeing an area that's super, super sharp in here. It looks like it's got some movement going through. I'm wondering if it's just my eyes or if anyone else is seeing that.
Lisa.
82 merit. I see quite a bit of sharpness right there in that center bloom area. And then the very first leaf that comes up, the edges of that leaf are quite in focus. So I see adequate sharpness in here. Really enjoy the composition and the very strong vertical crop on this.
Dawn.
82, I really like I like the composition. I think there's some beautiful tonalities happening here. I do see sharpness in the center of the flower in particular, which is where I want to see it most. I maybe even could have been higher with the border. To me is distracting. I mean, there's so much sharpness in the border, it's fighting with the inside of the image. But yeah, 82.
Carl.
85, next category. Wonderful tonal range throughout this, giving us good depth, not just left to right or top to bottom, but into it. Wonderfully done.
Allison.
Yeah, 86 next category too. I thought it was original and unique, and the storytelling was there. I loved the sharpness in the middle worked for me. I loved the outline of the center subject with the highlights on the leaves. And the presentation actually worked for me because it allowed the calm areas to be calm and enjoy the dynamic range that's inside the image.
All right, rebuttal, Chris.
Thank you. I was hoping that it was my eyes messing with me, and I am drastically low. I was at a 78 because I was missing that, but I want to reward all the beautiful stuff that's going on. I'm going to change my score up 2 categories to 85 in the excellent category.
All right, rescore.
86. 121 buttons away. $76. The girl is mine. $77. The road less traveled. $77. Hidden waters. $78. A time to remember. $78. Sister, friend, protector. $77. Border Patrol. $79.
Challenge.
Carl.
Yeah, I'm at 84 in that image. What a great storytelling piece here. We see enough of each of the characters and subjects to get the story, but then we also see enough of the background to tell us, why they're there and continue that story. Well composed, simple, but powerful.
Allison.
I was at 76 with this image. I found the crop felt too tight to be up on this mountain ridge. I get that I get the distance in the background, but I'd love a little bit more surrounding. The presentation was really confining, the sky being almost a third of the image that doesn't really support the story. The placement of the secondary dude in the white hat kind of coming out of the rear end of the horse in front of it was awkward.
Chris.
82 merit category. The storytelling is just fantastic with this, and the composition that's added there by having the heads not intersecting with what that background is. You're brought in, you can see the rifle up against the horse body, so it's not too much texture, not too much busyness that's there, allowing you to really bounce around from all these little details that are there. It just adds to the storytelling element.
Lisa.
76 above average. The scene just feels slightly underexposed. I want those subjects to have just a little bit more brightness, vibrancy. It just has almost not quite a muddy quality, but it just felt like it was slightly underexposed. And the slice of blue jeans along the back edge of that first horse, definitely distracting.
Dawn.
78 in the above average category, and I was really drawn to those jeans through the legs and the tail of the horse as well. I like the title is a little, I mean, I get that Border Patrol, except that the secondary subject, you know, I don't get a sense from him that he's Border Patrol. I don't see a weapon. There's no one really kind of looking out. So there was some disconnect for me.
Rebuttal, Carl.
Yeah, and Rebuttal, some good points. I think that the maker gave us a good angle here. Like was mentioned, they're nicely composed within that background scene. I can't disagree at all with the jeans, especially in the bottom part. That's what's bringing me down, folks. I just wish it was handled the same way. It looks like everything else is brought down in density, but right by the boots on the jeans was so bright compared to everything else. I'm going to come down to 80. So I still feel it's merit, but we're going to get to it collectively where it belongs. So down to 80.
Rescore.
79.
And we have 6 images left. So we're going to keep powering through and finish strong.
8 images.
8 images left.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Mother-daughter dance. '80 majority challenge.
Challenge.
Allison.
I must be meriting this on my own. 84. What an absolutely beautiful, unusual maternity portrait where I really get the sense of both movement in the dress as well as the defined belly. So beautiful. I get that it's getting a little bright in spots and I wish it were flipped, but even with all of that, what a beautiful maternity image.
Chris.
82 merit category. I'm right there with Allison. I love the movement and simple storytelling that's there. The color harmony is just really, really nice. It just makes you smile when looking at it, and it tells a story.
Lisa.
77 above average. Really enjoyed the subject herself. I feel like there's a lot of extra light. It's sort of bouncing up off the floor and into the underside of her arm. But primarily, I wanted a more of that floor, that sense of grounding. It's sort of just chopped off at the left-hand side, and then it just fades off into nothing on the right-hand side. And I just really wanted to have a sense of ground in this image that is just missing for me.
Dawn.
77, it's been said.
Carl.
79. Love the concept. I do agree, even with the challenger, that there's some areas that are just too bright, especially by her face in this type of situation. But what a awesome concept. And I'm coming up with titles in my head here, and I'm thinking black and white and potential, absolutely. But the way it is right now, I don't think it's quite there.
Rebuttal.
Well, in the rebuttal, nobody even brought up the fact that this is a very heavily pregnant ballerina balanced on that toe shoe so elegantly from tip of fingers to expression on the face to the toes. I get that we are. There are so many things that we would love to see differently, the crop, the presentation, we can make a list, but we're talking about the merit category, and this absolutely has enough storytelling, color consistency, poise to go into that merit category. I'm going to stay at my 84 for the potential and just invite you to see the positives that are in front of us.
All right, let's rescore.
'81. Do you hear what I hear? It's artist too. '83.
Challenge.
Dawn.
I had this in an 88 in the next category. There's some beautiful, beautiful painting work here. There's beautiful consistency with technique. There's lovely storytelling. All the tonal ranges have been handled well, especially taking, when you look at that guide image at the bottom with the little girl and how they have taken down some of that contrast and made it fit within the scene. I just think there's some beautiful work here.
All right, Carl.
Yeah, I was at 84 and could trend up. I was a little bit taken back by her shoes, her feet. It looks almost like she's on one leg because of how she's facing us. And because now that it's going down into the snow and it doesn't really look like a shoe like on the original, it almost looks like one leg instead of two.
Allison.
I was at 82 and I can trend upward. My hesitation came from the fact that the little girl is so cute and the snowman is behind her. And then in front of her, there's this big space between the bird and the deer. I just would have thought the elements would have combined a little bit different, but I can come up.
Chris.
79, I may have been a bit low on this one. I am looking at the technical difficulty being in the artist category. The elements that are combined, the individual elements appear to have a painterly effect already present in them that was just exaggerated and then balanced out with what the rest of the scene was. Looks like the core artwork was on the girl, and she has got a different quality of light that's about her, different warmth, things that don't have quite the same harmony with what the rest of the scene was.
Lisa.
84, top of the merit category. And I did want to go into the excellent category, but Chris just nailed it. The conflict between the treatment of the little girl and then the background, it just didn't feel consistent, but I could be talked up.
All right, Dawn.
All right. In rebuttal, some of the concerns that I heard were the little girl's legs and feet. I do see a distinct line that goes between her legs there that are kind of separating that out. Standing in a snowdrift, we got some blurry foreground, kind of our snowy foreground happening, so I can kind of forgive that area. And as far as like the difference in, looking at the guide prints, and some of them are already have a painterly effect and some of them do not. I think that's part of the challenge that the maker met here, was that they took these different pieces that were in completely different lighting scenarios. They were completely different, some were already illustrative, some were not, and managed to balance that throughout so that the entire piece looks illustrative. And the distance between the subjects can't really explain that, but I do like that her head is tilted and she's listening, do you hear what I hear? And it almost feels like the animals in the background are trying to find the source of that sound as well. So for me, it all kind of comes together. It's beautifully done, and I would love to reward the maker. I would just stay at my 88.
All right, rescore.
87. Tiny Dreamer. 79. Heron in the Haze. And this is artist. 84.
Challenge.
Chris.
87 in the excellent category. I'm going to wait. There, it's the image back up now. Looking at the strong composition and colors and this just almost dreamlike sequence, it's just beautifully handled. Would love to talk about it.
Lisa.
84, top of the merit. I think this is really dreamy, has a dreamy quality to it. Really, I just wanted a little bit more, in the lower left-hand corner, we've got the grass that gives us a sense of place. And I guess I just wanted a little bit more of that on the right-hand side, just to give us a little bit more sense of place. But the title is Heron in the Haze, and so perhaps I should just let myself go with that title.
Dawn.
84, top end of the merit, some similar concerns. I do think the work that's done, particularly on the heron, is very, very nice. You know, I get the title that's in the mist. I do wish we had just a little more sense of that being where the bank, you know, it meets the water, and then the heaviness of the top right-hand corner kind of helped me back a bit as well.
Carl.
I was right at 80. I enjoy the composition, enjoy the work on the herring. It was what was right off the herring on this backside. It almost looks like a dark halo around it, right up its back, right up its neck. Maybe it might be an unfortunate situation as to where it lined up on the bank, but it just appears that way. And then I got a similar line on the front and right underneath its beak, right down its chest, where it goes from the dark line to light. And I don't really see that on the herring in the thumbnails. It's all consistent on the thumbnails.
Allison.
Well, 84, and Carl just said everything that I was going to say. So Carl dittos. And then I do want to draw your attention to right at the keystroke on the bottom and on the right. There's some sort of like, I don't know if they did like an inner bevel or if they missed putting the image in the mat. It's especially evident on the far left-hand side. You're getting almost a ghosting of the keystroke into those reads.
Rebuttal, Chris.
Thank you. I especially appreciate the pointing out of the kind of shadow that's around the heron and that keystroke that's on the bottom. Do want to kind of explain a little bit of that balance that we have between the shrubbery that's in the bottom left, the wispy leaves that are there, and that's kind of balanced out on the upper right. So we have a nice kind of, again, complementary balance between the highlights and the shadows that are there. And if you look at the subtle texture in the fog that's going behind it, we can see all those same plant life that's behind it, giving a sense of scene. I really love the transitions that are there. I think those couple minor things that were pointed out, like the shadowing and that line there, do keep it out of that excellent category, unfortunately. So I'm going to be changing my score to the high end of the deserving of merit category as an 84.
All right, rescore.
83. Delicate Beauty. 77. Early Morning Flight.
Just waiting on one score.
83. Prom.
007 prom.
Oh, sorry, 007 prom. 76. Cherry blossoms. 79 majority challenge.
Challenge.
Carl.
Yeah, I'm right at 80 on this image. I think that for a 2022 high school senior, this is well carried out. We got good expression, good dimension of light on her face. We have what the seniors like right now at that soft, airy feel, not only from the little bit of flare, which usually drives me nuts, by the way, but in this case, it looks really nice. And then we got that nice little bokeh of the foreground flowers that they photographed through. Enough to give us that little dimension, that little effect, but not enough that we can't not see that person and their individuality.
Allison.
Yeah, I was also in favor of the 80. This is one of those crazy times where all the things that sometimes don't work totally work. The flare, the bokeh, all of that. Her expression ties the entire thing together and makes sense to me. It's beautiful. It's sellable. It's what we're hired to do.
Chris.
78 above average. I agree that they've done a great job of handling all those individual elements. The flowers in the top right being sharp when everything else has this ethereal feel to it kind of competes for attention, both in contrast and in focus from what our primary subject is. Would like to have seen that handled differently.
Lisa.
81, definitely in favor of the merit. It's funny because when I first saw this, my first thought was, I usually don't like flare and bokeh and, looking through, but it's working. We all said the same thing. I think this has a really great vintage kind of boho feel to it. So that pink that goes across the image, it almost feels like it's an old time image. It's faded a little bit to pink, like what happens with old chemistry. And I just really enjoy this image. I feel like it's deserving of a merit.
Dawn.
I was at a 78 in the above average category, and I do appreciate, the softness of it, and that it is very much on trend with what we're tasked with in photographing seniors. The top right hand corner with those cherry blossoms being so sharp, and they don't have the same treatment with the kind of mist in front of them, and then her face, like right on her eyes, nose, mouth, and a little bit of hair on the one side is really, it's so sharp and so far away from the ethereal feel of the rest of the image that it kind of, the consistency is lacking for me. And then just pose itself, we've cut the fingers off in kind of an awkward place down next to her body. And there were just several little things that added up to me in the non-merit.
Rebuttal, Carl.
Yeah, and rebuttal. I think I don't think that there was an effect placed on this or a technique applied to this other than what was naturally there. It's like a natural color grading almost because of what they had against the lens in the foreground. And it's unfortunate that the same plane of focus is on that blossom on the far right corner compared to her eye. But that's what gives us the natural reality to this, in my opinion. I think her face needs to have that sharpness because she is looking right at us. And if she's not, if she wasn't in focus, it would be uncomfortable having her look at us and being out of focus. So there's seesaw back and forth in my mind as to what the maker worked with and what they gave us. And I fall on the side of the fence with the maker that they created something that's very merit worthy.
All right, let's rescore.
$80. And that's it.
That was our last image. Judges, is there anything you want to bring back before we start to close this thing down?
We gotta bring
Yes.
back that goose.
All right, I had a feeling
Swan, or
that was the
whatever that
case.
is.
Early morning flight, if you can bring that back.
I also want to bring one back after that.
Sounds great. All right,
Gotta
early
clean my
morning flight,
monitor.
Carl.
Yeah, I'm cleaning my monitor off again, just making sure. What did this end up scoring?
83.
Yeah, and I was at 88. Wow. Right away, this had such a great impact. When it came in, good lines from the left leading up to this bird, good placement of the back of it to the sky. And, you know, the color palette that we have to work with here is so subtle and nice and flows so well. You get the idea of motion and a place for this bird to go to, but yet the bird is so nice and tack sharp, has great dimension on the bird, even more so than what's going on in the background. There's so many little next level things on this that tell us maybe the next level is warranted, and maybe 88 is still low for what I see here, and it's growing on me even more.
Allison.
Yeah, 81. I think I can only imagine, like, long lens with how close this bird is. Like, whoa, that would have been a wake up call with that. The hesitation I had on going higher was the fact that the bird is so dead center on the horizon plane. And I didn't see a lot of purpose for the top. And then it also feels like the whole image is sort of, I mean, feels like it's leaning towards the left.
Chris.
84. I really enjoy the composition, the impact that comes through. I get a nice balance with what the crop, and I don't feel like it's angling or tilting because we have the large mountain going and the slope of the sand dunes. The one thing that hits me is the consistency of light. So from the background scene, we've got a backlit scene where it's hitting those edges and the kind of top part of those hills, yet on our bird it looks like we're kind of going more top down, like his neck's brighter, the top of his wings are brighter, yet we still have a ton of brightness that's coming on that front wing, but not a lot of shadow that comes in on those shadowed areas, so it gives it almost a cutouty type feel to it.
Lisa.
82, deserving of a merit. The inconsistency of light was something I definitely struggled with. I also struggled with a sense of scale. This bird just felt so large and looming in the scene that I struggled with that a little bit. So if we could kind of address those matters, then you know, I could probably come up.
Dawn.
81 in the deserving of a merit category, and I had some similar concerns to my fellow jurors with scale and light. There's also appears to be, like, you know, this is a soft scene and we don't have a hard lighting in the background, but we have a shadow from the wing that's closest to us falling onto the wing behind. And so that's confusing to me. And then to use a term from Nancy Emmerich, the soft underbelly of our bird here has a distinct dark line along the bottom of the belly and then the bottom of the neck. And I feel like if it was in this scene originally, we wouldn't have that contrasty difference there.
Carl.
Yeah, in rebuttal, you know, a couple of things mentioned that the horizon, the bird being more on the horizon. I think my opinion is that it was placed there because of what was happening of the mountain on the left and the little bit of a less of a mountain on the right, its placement within that scene. Size relationship, boy, you know, a long lens, like it's been mentioned, is most likely what we're going to use to photograph birds and have them really, you know, be close up to us. And it's going to compress everything back there. And those mountains might be 20 miles away, which also tells us that the light there 20 miles away will definitely most likely be different than what's happening right here within 100 yards from us or less, maybe 25 yards from us. So, what light is on the bird might not mimic what's way back there miles and miles away. I don't think that those are shadows from the wings, from the foreground to the background wings. I think that's what we're seeing through the transparency of those feathers in the background to the feathers that are farther up on the wings. Like we can see in the wing in the foreground, you can see where that transitions from bottom to as it goes up, about midway up, and it's the same on the other side. And then the dark line, I think it's because there is more light coming from top to bottom. So it's giving us light highlight on the top. Going down, we're going to have a little bit radiation change to the belly, the underbelly, but it follows. It's not, to me, it doesn't look cut out because it follows through along the wing as well on the underbelly part. And it doesn't look the same there as it does against the background behind it. So I think that this is extremely natural. It appears natural to me, very well composed, nice palette, a lot of impact. I'm happy at 88 and we'll see where it goes.
All right, let's rescore.
$85.
And Lisa, you had one you wanted to come back.
Yes, Tiny Dreamer.
Tiny Dreamer.
It's just a few back.
There it is.
Okay, Tiny Dreamer.
I believe this scored a 79, so it was just outside of the merit. I scored it in 83, and I just think this really has all the elements of a merit. We have a great little story here with the title Tiny Dreamer. He's dreaming about being a cowboy. He's got the cute, all the scene setting things that we need with the cowboy boots and the lariat and the cowboy hat and the horse. There's nice directional light on the baby. He's well posed. I'm gonna go with he. Well captured. This just feels like a merit.
Dawn.
I believe I was at a 78 in the above average category, and I agree with all of the positives. The baby's beautiful. There's definitely there's directional light on the face. Unfortunately, I feel like it's underlit, which is not giving me as favorable of a feel for the softness of a baby. And then I also have some issues with where the background and the floor, like there's no real, like the transition there is odd. It doesn't seem to be the same on both sides, and that's really distracting and pulling me out. And also the brightest area of the image is the edge of the hat, and I would so that's the area of highest contrast for me, and that's pulling me away from the beautiful baby's face.
Carl.
Of average 78, it's been said.
Allison.
79. I wanted to be there with you because the storytelling is so great, but the brightness of the hat brim was kind of a deal breaker. I wish they would have brought a different hat. I also wish that, the back of the boots or portion of the boots are in focus, and they're equally on the same plane as the horse, but the horse is out of focus in places that would be of equal. So I wanted to be there because the storytelling is so cute, but I wasn't.
Chris.
77. Only thing to add is the heavy dark area in the upper left and upper rights, and the kind of bright area in the bottom left as well. Kind of pulls you out and distracts from the main subject.
Rebuttal, Lisa.
Oh, you guys. I will say that the brightness of the hat, it is bright, but it didn't really distract me too much. The transition between the floor and the background is that's rough, and the little horse, I think that it's just at enough of an angle that it's falling out of the plane of focus there. Doggone it. All right, I will be scoring this a 79.
All right, let's rescore.
78.
Any other images that you want to talk about before we close this competition? All right, hearing none, consider the competition closed. Judges, you did a fantastic job. I think a big round of applause is coming from the audience, even though they're on mute. I can just feel it. And I would like to also say, I think you worked super together. Good discussion. And Idaho, thank you for having us today. Judges, unmute, say thank you if you have anything you want to say to them. And then we will take a short break over in the breakout room.
Thanks, guys. Nice images.
Thank you,
Great
everybody.
job.
Thank you. Beautiful work.
Thank you, guys.
Just don't leave.
Is that
Yeah,
okay to
we're
be in the
not going to
breakout room?
leave. We're going to go into the breakout room for just a few minutes and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Sound good, Sherry?
Yep.
Okay. Judges, come to the breakout room.
Okay, we need
Recording stopped.